Dear students, today we are going to study a new story, Fritz, written by Satyajit Ray. Let us know about this story. Fritz is an interesting story about supernatural incident experienced by Shankar, the narrator of the story, and his friend Jayendo. Fritz throws up a lot of questions that remain unanswered right till the end of the story, revolving around the themes of friendship and the idea of the supernatural. The story demonstrates Ray's penchant for suspense and mystery. Fritz is one of Ray's stories in which a man named Jayendo returned to his childhood house and gradually recollects his memories about his doll Fritz. To soothe his unexplained anxiety and discomfort, his friend Shankar advises him to dig the ground where Fritz was buried. To the horror, what they find is a 12-inch long human skeleton. The master storyteller harmoniously blends atmosphere, emotion, and plot to create an eerie feeling that builds as the story progresses. Now let us go to the story in detail. Jayendo and Shankar's visit to Bundi. Jayendo, the protagonist of the story, and Shankar, the narrator of the story, were childhood friends. They had gone to the same school and college. Jayendo worked in the editorial division of a newspaper, whereas Shankar was a teacher. While most of the people visit famous places like Jaipur, Udaipur, and Chittor in Rajasthan, Jayendo insisted on going to Bundi. Though Shankar was puzzled at Jayendo's choice for the trip, he obliged. On the way to Bundi by train, Jayendo told Shankar that he had visited Bundi when he was 6 years old with his father, who worked in the archaeological department. So he always wanted to come back to Bundi as an adult to compare the modern Bundi with his childhood image of the place. Their stay in the circuit house at Bundi. Jayendo and Shankar stayed in a circuit house built during the time of the British 100 years ago. It was the same place where Jayendo had stayed with his father during his visit 31 years ago. After arriving to Bundi, Jayendo turned rather quiet. When they went for a stroll in the garden after tea, Jayendo suddenly remembered that there was a deodar tree in the garden when he visited the place in the childhood. He went towards far end of the compound and gladly exclaimed, "Yes, it is here, exactly where it was before." Memory of Fritz. The most important thing that Jayendo recalled was about a doll, which his uncle had brought for him from Switzerland. It was a 12-inch long figure of an old man dressed in traditional Swiss style. The most peculiar thing about the doll was that the man who sold the doll to Jayendo's uncle told him to call it Fritz, as it won't respond to any other name. Jayendo became so fond of Fritz that he gave up all other toys and began to spend all his time with Fritz. Loss of Fritz. When Shankar inquired about the doll, Jayendo sighed and said that he lost it when he brought it to Bundi. Once he was having tea with his parents in the garden. The tea got spilled on his pants and he rushed inside to change, leaving his doll on the grass. When he returned, he was astonished to find two stray dogs having a tug-of-war with Fritz. Consequently, Fritz's clothes were torn apart and its face was disfigured beyond recognition. It was the end of Fritz for Jayendo. So, Jayanto buried him under the deodar tree. Visit of a strange creature. After the mystery of deodar tree was revealed, Jayanto and Shankar went to sleep in their bedroom. A little later, Shankar was woken up by a noise. He found Jayanto sitting up on his bed with an anxious look on his face. On being questioned by Shankar, Jayanto told him that something had walked over his chest. Since the door was closed, Shankar looked around in the room for the creature. Then Jayanto showed him some circular marks on the cover of his quilt. Shankar said that those could have been made by a cat. Jayanto did not say anything but looked quite disturbed. Shankar pacified him by saying a few soothing words and went to bed. Jayanto's new revelation. The next day, Jayanto and Shankar went for sightseeing to the Bundi fort. Though Jayanto could recall memories of his last visit to the place, he was not at ease. He was looking morose and told Shankar that he wanted to return to the circuit house. On their way back, Jayanto revealed to Shankar that those little marks on his quilt were the footprints of Fritz, who came into their room last night. To help Jayanto get rid of his worried notion, Shankar suggested a plan of digging the ground where Fritz was buried 31 years ago. The result of digging. They asked the gardener in the circuit house to dig the ground under the deodar tree. When the gardener did so, to their astonishment and horror, they found a 12-inch long, pure white, perfect little human skeleton. Disturbing thoughts rushed into the two friends like a torrent. Was Fritz a human who still yearned for Jayanto's company? Let's revise the story. Here I would like to remind all the students to read the story from the textbook.